Meeting of the City Council of City of Hillsboro, Kansas to order. As with our regular agenda, we always start the meeting with public comments. Mr. Stiles will be the moderator, and if you want to make a comment or be heard in front of the council, now is the time to do that. So Mr. Stiles, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, sir. So we've got just a few members of the public here today. So if you want to speak, usually we ask that you click on the little hand hold up icon under the participants, but we can probably just ask if Jonah or Blake would like to speak tonight.
I got nothing. So.
Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
All right. Very good. We will move on to approval of minutes of our 11/17/2020 regular meeting. Did everyone receive a copy of the minutes? Were there any questions, comments, or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
So moved.
Councilman Driggers moves. Councilman McCarty seconds. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Thanks, Renee. Okay, motion carries. We'll now move on to approval of vouchers. We have manual checks in the amount of $238,220.16. Computer checks in the amount of $36,523.48 for a total voucher approval of $274,743.64. Did everyone receive copies of the vouchers? Were there any questions regarding the vouchers? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve payment of the vouchers as submitted.
I'd make that motion.
Councilman Lowen moves. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman McCarty seconds. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 The motion carries. We'll now move on to our business section. We're at business item E1, municipal policy statement number 91, use of social media. Mr. Stiles.
Thank you, sir. So what we've found out throughout all this pandemic things is that we have a pretty active Facebook community. We don't actually have a policy, and what we have been doing is kind of monitoring that. And Glenda Stoppel and myself, we operate under kind of a best judgment policy, but it's not exactly the best when we see things that maybe we think should be taken down, but could be potentially questionable. So what we did was put together this social media policy, which talks about sort of what the city's responsibility is, how this is a forum for people, how the content is monitored, and lets people know when and if we will actually take something down. Anytime we take something down, we do take screen captures of that. So we do have a record of that if we were to find ourselves in a situation where that may come back up. But it basically outlines sort of what the standards are for people who want to participate on the city's Facebook page, or if we added Twitter or any other social media platform. And also it outlines employee use of social media. We do have some things in our personnel policy that talk about being able to use it on the job, but it also sort of outlines what employees' responsibilities are with regard to social media, that they're not acting as the city unless they're designated to do so in that official capacity. It also outlines that you're not. You can have political beliefs, you can have different associations, you're free to have those, but if you can't effectively pursue your job, or if it interferes with your job, you could face potential disciplinary actions there, which is a little bit of an interesting area, but we felt like it was good to have a policy put out to address this, to address social media in general. We used several different example policies that are out there and kind of worked them together. So we found something that we thought was pretty good for us. So we would ask that there's no financial impact, but we would ask that you approve the policy statement or provide some input as to what you'd like to see different, if anything.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Stiles?
Are you talking about only on the city's Facebook app? If they use that to voice personal opinions, is that what you meant?
Yeah, so, employees have the right to, they have freedom of speech just like everybody else. And so they have the right to
Okay.
say and do whatever they want. But they're not to express themselves or present themselves as the opinion of the city unless it's on the official.
Okay, got that. So thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions? Concerns? Hearing none, I would ask for a motion to approve municipal policy number 91 and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll make that motion.
Councilman McCarty moves. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Driggers seconds. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll now move on to agenda item E2, KMU Safety and Compliance Management Program. Mr. Stiles?
Thank you, sir. So what we normally do, the city annually contracts with KMU, Kansas Municipal Utilities, for monthly safety trainings and some quarterly supervisor trainings. So normally we have 28 on-site trainings a year, which has been pretty good for the city and building our safety culture. But I think the next thing that we would like to do is add the safety and compliance program through KMU, which basically doubles our time with KMU staff. So we would have our trainer, Shayla Nesby, who comes out and does all of our on-site things, would also be able to do on-site safety audits for us, do walkthroughs for us, help develop a city safety manual, which we don't have, do reviews, and expand some of those training things for us, and basically help make our safety culture a little bit more robust. It is a little bit more money, obviously, when you talk about adding more time. So it's $15,880. And it's a 3-year commitment, but it really has it's a 90-day out. So if we decided, 90 days in that we didn't like it, we could opt out of that contract. But a pretty high confidence that this would be a good investment for us. Shayla's worked out really well. KMU has excellent training, and I think that adding this would really enhance our safety culture and kind of take us to the next level.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Stiles? Hearing none, accept a motion to approve the proposed contract with Kansas Municipal Utilities for the Safety and Compliance Management Program at a cost of $15,880.
I'll make that motion.
Councilman Gehring moves.
Second.
Is there a Councilman Lowen seconds? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. I'm sorry, I'm working 2 devices here. I'm actually at home tonight. We are now to agenda item E3, which is our 2020 budget amendment setting public hearing. Mr. Stiles.
Okay, thank you, sir. So the 2020 budget is actually in pretty good shape. The fallout we thought we were going to see from COVID-19 really didn't materialize, but we scaled back our operations, and so from a budget perspective, we have a lot of authority, budgetary authority left, particularly in the general fund. That's one you always watch, but it's actually in pretty good shape. We only have 3 funds that will need amendment this year: the Special Highway Fund, the Fire Equipment Replacement Fund, and the TIF Fund. One of the reasons with the special highway is that we have a little bit more expenses. We switched over some of our commodity pricing, which was previously paid out of the general fund to the special highway fund. So cold mix asphalt is really specifically what that is. And so we've got a little bit more expenditure there than we had budget authority, but we've also had higher than anticipated revenue. So that budget amendment is pretty small. It just extends the authority from $214,496 to an even $229,000. We feel like that'll be sufficient for the next year, or for this year, excuse me, the amendment for this year. The fire equipment replacement, we ended up getting a FEMA grant that had a matching component to that. And so we ended up spending more than the budgetary authority, but we ended up with the grant coming in to help offset some of that. And so what was originally budgeted was pretty low. They weren't planning on making too many purchases out of that this year. It's on a cycle. And this was not one of the years we were planning on having a lot, but the increase from the budget amendment would be from $11,050 to $126,050. So a lot of that is tied with that FEMA grant money. Anytime you expend that, you still have to show it on your sheet. And so that would be the biggest amendment out of the group. And then the TIF district, we pay property taxes in the TIF district, but we didn't factor that into the budget, and so that's kind of what kicked it out of balance for this year. Those properties will not be subject to property tax in the future because they're getting moved into the land bank, but as we look at 2020, we need to increase the budget authority from 29,830 to 31,330. So a little bit of an increase on that one as well. Really, there's not any major financial impact. Overall, everything looks really pretty good. This will just avoid getting into budgetary violation. So there's sufficient revenues to correspond with all the expenditures. So there's really nothing fiscally that is concerning in that. So we would just ask for publication of this. We set the special meeting for December 29th, and so we would have the public hearing on this budget amendment on the 29th at 4 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions regarding the upcoming budget amendment and special meeting? Is everybody available on the 29th for that meeting? As far as you know?
What day of the week is that?
That is a Tuesday.
Okay.
It would be our normal meeting time because we would have, if you followed the every other week, it would be our third meeting in December, but.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve publication of the proposed budget amendment and setting the public hearing for December 29th at 4 p.m. Will be a Zoom meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Councilman Lowen moves, Councilman Driggers seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, I believe we've got some Elkon invoices, Mr. Stiles.
Yes, sir. So we had, the first one is an interesting one. It's a repair job over at 707 West A Street. A couple years ago, we had a water project over there, and the contractor at the time bored into the electrical service, and our personnel fixed it. Our electrical guys fixed it. So we took responsibility for that fix, and it came, a couple years later. It failed. So we called Elkon out to do a full repair of that. So what you have there, the $621.92, is that repair charge for that service, just fixing something that we tried to fix previously. And then the other invoice is for the welding school. We had a ceiling light fixture that we needed to replace out there. Pretty easy $190 call there.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, I'd accept a motion to approve payment of these two Elkon invoices.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Driggers moves, Councilman Lowen seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All abstaining,
Abstain.
motion passes. Thank you. We'll now move on to appointments, and I really hope that I would have one tonight. I was working on one, and hopefully that person will get back to me yet, and we will be able to do that at our next council meeting. And I guess we'll move on, Mr. Stiles, to the city administrator's report.
Thank you, sir. So we talked a little bit about, obviously COVID's been a thing, big thing that we've been dealing with. We had another couple, another person go into quarantine today, and so far I've tested all the water employees a couple different times, and one other employee. All have come back negative, thankfully. But we did have somebody get put into quarantine today from a close contact over Thanksgiving. We've shifted some of our things. The museum, we've closed down to tours again, and we've moved things like the CVB's Christmas tree lighting to a virtual event, which I would encourage everyone to come out to listen to on Facebook Live. We're going to be posting that on Facebook Live. Another interesting thing that's related to COVID, I got a contact from the health department today. KDHE, I guess, has been asking counties to identify areas where they could potentially do community-wide testing or some kind of community testing for COVID. And so Deidre and I had some email correspondence back and forth about using the Scout House as a possible testing location. It sounds like it would be outdoor kind of testing, or maybe a drive-through style of testing. I'm not real sure what that looks like. She thought that they would probably want to be finished by December 31st, so that would be moving quickly. And everything, of course, is pretty fluid with the pandemic and KDHE and all those things. But I just thought I'd bring that to your attention, that we may have some sort of testing through Marion County Health Department happening on the Scout House, or maybe even the museum parking lot over there. So Planning Commission, we've got a Planning Commission meeting scheduled for Thursday at 5:30 p.m. It's going to be on Zoom too. We've got a conditional use permit that needs to be addressed at that time. They won't have another meeting in December unless something changes dramatically between here and there. So we'll look forward to the December 3rd meeting at 5:30 p.m., which is a little different than the 7 p.m. start we normally have on that. But we've got that posted, and you can follow that link to get out to that. The Salem home update, we've got everything over to their attorney as far as I know, and Josh has had it all over there. Yeah, so we're waiting for a response from them. Glanzer Pro Audio is working on getting everything hooked up in the council chambers. Elkon's actually doing some work tomorrow on the electrical. We're upgrading the panel in that area that serves that, and then doing a floor chase. So I think once that gets done, then Chris can finish up and get everything installed. So we may be able to have a time to do a hybrid meeting at the December 15th meeting if we want to do that. I'll leave that up to everybody if they want to do that or not. And then holiday recycling, we've had the Thanksgiving holiday kind of threw some people off, and so we had a lot of folks who missed their recycling on Monday, me being one of them. Completely forgot about it. So we're trying to get as much information out there as possible about that. And then we've also kind of started a little bit of a blitz about holiday recycling, all the things that you can and can't recycle from the holiday season. So look for some of that stuff coming out as we move forward. And I think that is all I have today, sir.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Is there any questions for Matt regarding his report? In terms of the hybrid meeting, my thoughts are I'm not sure we want to be back to any in-person type meetings, even for us at this time. So maybe January we can look to do a hybrid meeting, or maybe even that last meeting of December we could think about it, that special meeting. So
we will certainly accommodate whatever you want to do on that.
I think right now we just need to keep playing it safe and honestly get through the holidays before we get too carried away. Is there any other business that needs to come before the council today? Hearing none, we will adjourn. Thank you very much for your attendance, and appreciate those from the public that joined us. Thank you.